credo sia la terza, credo sia l'infezione dell'anno prima, credo sia affidato, è salmonato, è molto diverso dal greco. Eh sì, però prima nel frattempo che le colonie
ieri sera c'era uno che scese e ha postato il link della pausa almeno usciva, entrava sempre c'era un tavolino con 5 persone io ho contato di fare 3-5-7 giorni, ma in realtà poi mi sono bloccata fino a la cena, avevamo già 12 di incidenza. Allora guarda, test 1, allora i test sono 3, ho fatto 3 quindi sono bravo,
Take your seat. Thank you very much. Bassem Kalfi from Tunisia. He will talk about the growth performances of mealworm reared on agri-food byproducts and supervised by Dr. Lamai and Dr. Baldacchino again, the famous couple.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Doctor, for introducing me. My name is Bassam. I'm from Tunisia, and I'm presenting for you today the thesis work entitled The Growth Performances of Mealworm Tenebrio Monitor read on agro-food byproducts for food and feed uses. I hope that you will be comprehensive. And my supervisors are Dr. Flutra from Siambari and Dr. Ferdinando Baldacchino from the ENIA Research Center. Okay, let's start by the outline. This is it. From the introduction, the starting point, it's expected that the world population will reach 9 billion person by 2050. And in order to feed this big population, we need high quantities of protein, mainly meat production. And to produce meat, we are using soybean, which is the main animal feed used in the world, produced in big quantities in Argentina and in that region, South America. But to produce this soybean, we are intensifying the production, and we are cutting the trees, and this is the result. So, based on many references, insects are the solution to feed the world and to satisfy the needs on protein. Let's move to our literature review. Why we are eating insects? From an ecological point of view, insects have a very important ecological footprint. If we compare insects versus cows, for example, from feed, land, emissions, and water uses, it's incomparable. Also, from a nutritional point of view, if you can see here, the edible portion of an insect is almost the double of what we eat from a cow, and the protein content is almost the same. And insects have very important nutrient content, mainly minerals like zinc, calcium, omega-3, etc. Okay, the practice of eating insects is called entomophagy, and it's a very common practice for 2 billion people, mainly in the southern part of the world. And these are the basic insects that are eaten. Mainly we have the order of Coleoptera and the order of Lepidoptera. Insects have a taste. For example, termites taste like pinnacles, beetles like clams, and spiders like to the category of food traditionally eaten outside the European Union. And finally, Europe agrees to allow insects as a food for humans. Insects are a natural diet for many animals, and mainly aquaculture and apiculture. And in literature, many insects will be used, mainly the order of Diptera. We have the black soldier fly, which is the most important one in this order, and we have the order of Lactodia. But these insects are known by the disease transmission idea, but they have a very important protein content. We have also the order of Orthoptera, mainly crickets. They have a problem with heavy metals, but they have a very good nutritional value. These also were used, but they have the problem of venom, which reduces the performances of animals. So let's make a summary. We have these most famous insects used. We have crickets and black soldier fly, and the insect that I'm working on, which is Tenebrio molitor. Let's discover it together. My insects belonging to the order of Coleoptera, and this is its life cycle. As you see here, there is a very large variation in each period for each phase of the cycle, and this variation is due to the climatic condition, mainly temperature, photoperiod, and relative humidity, which can vary and affect the period. Tenebrio molitor is considered as a pest, and we find it in storage when we have grains and flour, etc. And so in literature, the main products used to rear this insect is wheat bran and brew yeast as a protein source. But it needs water, so that we are adding potatoes residues as a water source to rear it. Also, and it was used for animal feed. It improves the performances of animals, but it has the problem of calcium content, so sometimes they add calcium to enhance the performances. It's used also for humans from 2018, and because it has a very interesting nutritional value, and according to many references, this insect is comparable to the meat that we are eating. Let's speak about the circular economy and sustainability behind using this insect. To rear Tenebrio molitor, we are using food waste coming from food processing. We rear our insect, and we are getting many products, mainly protein, fat, chitin, which is the exoskeleton of the insect, and thrust, which is the dejections coming from this insect. We are using these products in many fields, mainly in food, feed, fertilization, and medical uses. And this is the story behind it. It was proven that this insect can degrade plastic and polystyrene wastes. But for me, as my supervisor, this can have more drawbacks and negative impacts than positive ones, because we are dividing plastic in small particles, which can increase pollution to the environment. And like Lavoisier said, nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything is transformed. And Tenebrio molitor passed from a pest to a food and feed source and environmental solution. Let's move to the problematic. As you see, this is the life cycle of Tenebrio molitor. And the reproduction issue of this insect is not well studied and highlighted in literature. And we are considering it as a secret. Mainly, industries, they are not sharing the story behind the production of this larva, which is the edible part. So, and we are not finding enough information about the adults, about their reproduction. And we have to study the reproduction starting from the adult in order to have higher production of the larva, which is celled. And starting from this point, we started to raise some research questions, like how could we evaluate the growth performances of this Tenebrio molitor? How could we study its reproduction and to read it properly, and what is the relation between the byproducts that we are using and their effect on the reproduction and the growth performances of these insects. And then we moved to our objectives. We set together our principal objective, which is the evaluation of the effect of agri-food byproducts on growth performances and reproductive efficiency of Ginebrio monitor. And in order to realize this principal objective, we set 3 secondary objectives by 3 experiments that we will try to do it. The first experiment is to study the effect of the pupil weight, or adults, on feed quantity and on growth performances. I already started this one, and the target part of the cycle is the adult. The second experiment will try to study the effect of 6 diets with different protein levels on feed quantity, growth performances, and nutritional value, and the target parts are adults and larvae. And the third experiment is to study and to test the effect of new byproducts on growth performances and nutritional value of the larva this time. Let's start by the first experiment. As I mentioned, the key point is to study the effect of weight on on the reproduction of this insect. So we have these 6 pupil weights that we did it. We will start from the pupa, but in order to reach this point, we got some larvae from ENIA Research Center and from the Institute. We raised it in these conditions, and we get our first pupa. From the point that we're starting to see some pupas in the cages, we collected the pupa, we weighted, and then we classified into 6 groups. Then we separated males and females, and we moved to the adult stage, which is the point of making replicates of our study. So we made some replicates. We have 10 replicates per group, and this is how the replicate is going on. We have the food and the adults, and this is the replicate. And weekly we are transferring the adults in new cups in order to study the reproduction for a 6 weeks period. And then we have our eggs. We watch it under the microscope, and finally we are counting the larvae after 4 weeks from transferring and putting the adults together. This is the experimental design of this first experiment. As you see, we have 6 weeks, 6 weight ranges, and 10 replications for each group. Let's move to the second experiment. The key point of this experiment is the effect of 6 diets with different protein levels. These diets were provided by Dr. Ferdinando from the ENIA Research Center, and they are in the form of biscuits in order for particular purposes. Our starting point is the larva in this experience. We raise it in these conditions, and we keep breeding the larva for a period of 4 weeks, and we have 10 replicates per diet. In this period, we'll try to evaluate the growth performances and the nutritional value of our larva. Then, we have our pupa, which will take the average weight of the pupa of the 6 diets. We will separate it into males and females, and then we'll have our adults. 10 replicates per diet also. These are the adult males and females, 10 replicates per diet, and we'll have the eggs, and finally, after 4 weeks, we will count the larva, which is the third outcome coming from this second experiment. Let's move to the third experiment. The idea behind this experiment is to use some byproducts from my country, Tunisia. The byproducts that we were thinking on are orange peel, dates seeds, olive pomace, and pomegranate peel. These byproducts are produced in big quantities, and mainly olive pomace is causing some environmental problems, mainly water pollution. So we'll try by this experiment to convince farmers in Tunisia to rear this insect, and why not to use it for their animals or even for humans. So the starting point, I started with the orange peel. I sun dry it without energy, and then I grind it, and this is the final product. Then we will feed these byproducts to our larvae. in these conditions, 8 replicates per diet for a period of 4 weeks, and then we will analyze our larva from protein, carbohydrate, and fat point of views. For statistical analysis, we'll use ANOVA and t-test. We will see that with my supervisors, and we are expecting as a result from the first experiment to define the optimal adult weight for maximum reproductive efficiency. From the second experiment, we are expecting to define the optimal protein level to have the maximum reproductive efficiency and the best nutritional value, and the positive correlation between protein and reproduction is expected. And from the third experiment, we are trying to discover new potential byproducts in order to reduce the competition with the human food. And dates seeds are expected to be a very good alternative to use it. Okay, if I have time, I have some next plans. My first plan is to do like economic evaluation of what I'm doing and to calculate the larval weight and to compare it with the price in the market. As you see here in front of you, I have this box of Tenebrio monitor. It's 15 gram with 15 euro. It's costly, and we are trying to see how much we will gain from the production of Tenebrio monitor. And then we'll try to make a social study by asking people about the possibility to eat or to produce insects in their farms, and why not to making the testing session. This is the timeline of my research activity. We'll try to do it, and these are the references. And thank you for your attention. If you don't mind, sir, I have something to show.
Not to eat.
You know not this.
Why not?
Do you bring any sample? How long is it? How long is it, listen? Listen. How long is it? How long?
1 minute.
I've seen many different larvas in the lab.
Yes.
Anyhow, Bassam, compliments, congratulations. Very, very well done presentation.
Thank you.
To me. I think it's very comprehensive and extremely clear. So I really appreciate that. One thing, one question only I have is, you, at the beginning you have been talking about sustainability. And why don't you have in the next plan some study about the sustainability? Because I mean, producing proteins is something that probably is an impact in the environment very strong. So I mean, some ideas on the sustainability of this production in terms of emissions, consumptions, conversion rates. That would be very, very interesting as well.
Maybe it will, the limiting factor will be the life cycle of the insect. It takes a lot of time, and maybe this ideas can be used, for example, in PhD studies, so that it will need more time, maybe.
Well, your additional plans, I mean, are part of a PhD program actually,
yeah.
because it's otherwise, I don't think you're going to make it in time. We hope so, but for you.
But congratulations. I'm really impressed, not only by the presentation, excellent presentation, but by the topic. It's very innovative, and I believe we have to share it at a larger context. and I would push to go for a PhD and to link it to other knowledge units where we work on nutrition, because all issues also related to sustainability are very important, but the final user is a human beings, and health issues are strictly correlated to nutrient deficiency on our food. So this is something really very important. I would go also on having some future projects that go beyond a master or a PhD and some research topics. So let's speak together on this issue. My suggestion for you is to put the video, maybe make it shorter, and put it in the material and method section.
Yes.
Rather than closing, let's say, the presentation or doing a part. Excellent, you and Marco about statistics, part of the material and method, and I realized that previous ones didn't speak about statistical analysis, so it's very important to focus on that. I have a curiosity. Well, actually, maybe I missed in the presentation. The very first origin of the worm or the insect is food itself. Is like when we keep pasta for long, or the organic pasta that usually develops worm. Is this the origin? Is this the insect?
No.
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 No. The larva, this larva mainly we found it in storage, big storage. We cannot find it in our houses.
Okay, so it's not the houseworm.
Originating
No.
by
No.
It's similar, but it's not the same. You find more in warehouses in which you store powdery things.
Okay. Since it occurs frequently to me, but I don't know if it occurs when you have pasta, rice, so develop worms. Do you think if we eat the pasta with this worm, is it
But
something?
you already eat.
Yeah, is it harmful? Yeah, I know.
The eggs.
Is it the eggs or even the worms?
Adults try.
Okay, is it harmful or is it good? Is it a source of protein or could
For
it
me,
be?
yes, I consider everything as a protein source.
Okay.
And maybe the temperature of cooking
Uh-huh.
will delay anything. So
Will kill it.
yes.
Okay. Since we assist lately about also presence of harmful microorganisms in the intestine, so I would connect these questions in the section related to the customer survey. Okay, because we are usually afraid of eating something that can harm the organism or develop worms in the intestine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yes, also for me it was very clear, very interesting, and very well explained. I have the feeling that if you want to do everything, including the socioeconomic analysis, it will be too much, also because you should also look at the industrial application of it. And maybe there is a scale, let's say, issue that should not underestimate it. I have a question related to safety of turning residues into human food, because there is a lot of regulation, but also I suppose there are some issues related to that. I wonder if you took it into consideration.
As I mentioned in the presentation, insects are allowed to be eaten under the regulation of novel food, which be done on 2015. But the regulation was applied starting from the 1st of January 2018. So we consider insects as a food, and they are subjected to all the hazards that can attack the normal food that we eat. Even the normal meat or fish, whatever we want, is subjected to the same thing that can affect this insect.
But the regulation is not open to all insects.
Yes, for edible insects.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not all insects that we have that live with us.
As far as you know, it's classified which can be edible with a human or not. For example, the black soldier fly, it's known for
No,
it.
but I mean, Blatta orientalis, can we eat it?
Yes. Yes, we have a list of edible
And it's
insects.
a problem for food
very
products. So
much.
there is a safety issue, of course. There must be.
For sure. And it can be affected by chemical, biological, or physical hazards like normal food. And the idea here for food safety, as you see here, doctor, I have this package, and we bought it from a certified company. And it's the company responsibility to make sure that the product sold in the market, we will not buy it from whatever. And we buy it from companies. And it's their responsibility to give us a product confirmed with the norms of food production. And I think that every company is under control of hazards, control, hazard.
Okay. No, my
The
question was
question
that
was on
it's before commercialization.
Oh.
Are there in the industrial production of this products some safety issues that have to be investigated? This is my question.
he was
It-
speaking of residues.
Yes, for
Food
sure.
residues.
It's the companies.
Contaminants or let's say pathologies that because they are creating a food chain.
Yes.
So in the food chain you should be aware of the critical points.
Yes. And they have to know, for example, the origin of the product they are using, when it comes from, and they take samples of the larva to make analysis for heavy metals, for pesticides, for etc. So it's obvious that it needs to be controlled before selling it into the market and or processing. And as I mentioned for the Ptilina also, the fact that these insects, before being sold in the market, they are subjected to very high temperature in order to be cooked. They're even fried or in the oven, etc. So the factor of temperature is very beneficial in this case.
Yeah, because of microbiome.
But on
Yes.
microbiology,
Yes.
then, not on residues. If I understood what the question is, are you sure about the safety of using food waste that could be contaminated by pesticides, heavy metals, whatever, in feeding these worms, and what is the result? Is it present in the worm itself? Because in that
It may.
cooking, the worm
Maybe.
would kill the microbiological, let's say, but not
Not
heavy
toxins.
metals or toxins occurring from the environment.
Depends.
So,
Not all of them.
are the crop residues tested before using them as a feed stock
Generally,
for
this
the
kind
worms?
of waste, for example, nuts or dates, you have already extracted the date. Or for meal, olive meal, you have already extracted the oil, so should be safe, I think. Why not? Why not?
Let's check.
It's not like this.
If you have extracted the
For
oil,
food
the oil
consumption,
is
it's more
fine.
complicated.
May I just want to interrupt you? But
You
the
should
point,
not.
the critical point, according to
He's not the supervisor.
no, I'm not, but just to be outside, is an
Take your time.
hygiene problem. It's a safety hygiene packet that Italian legislation is still not on the way
Bacteria and so on.
to be adapted, because the problem is not the legislation at European or world level, because there are guidelines in order to produce and to emphasize. That is true that this kind of food for humans is produced not in Europe, but in Switzerland, in Norwegia, who are within the borders of Europe, but they are not European countries. So the problem of hygiene is more important than the residual part at the moment. for
We
Italian.
have also Italian production, but it's not sold in Italy.
And that's
Yeah, concerning the,
Sono
it's not
aziende
sold in
Umbria.
Italy. What about the acceptance by population of different countries
Next
around
one,
the
next
world?
one.
No, maybe it's important because literature review at the beginning to show something like this. Probably China is
But in Asia,
In
Ah,
Asia,
China is okay.
South
but
America,
not
Central
but
America,
in
Asia,
Europe, what about Europe?
Africa, and Europe. People in Europe are always curious to try something new. We are eating sushi, which is not European, and you are accepting it. So why not to eat insects?
We always had sushi.
You like
But
Chinese
look,
food?
I studied personally the novel food. This will be our future food.
Right.
But it's a matter of fact.
Not for my generation.
Protein.
We will
Not for me.
We will not
Not for
eat
me.
any more big animals. It will be our food.
Okay. We can discuss about that privately.
Thank you.
This is
Thank
an
you.
interesting topic. From Egypt, Kamel.
Yes.
Kamel Mohammed Islam Ahmed will talk about design of natural multi-component dietary supplement, again, based on organic herbs and food byproducts, supervised by Ivana Kawowski and Raffaella Di Cagno from the University of Bolton. Ci stiamo lasciando per ultimo quelli di distanza?
No, due li abbiamo visti.
Uno per distanza. Non ce ne sono altri tre.
Ah, uno l'ho visto.
Ci vediamo? Ecco qua. All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, my name is Islam Ahmed. I'm from Egypt. I'm going to introduce my master thesis topic, which is the design of natural multi-component dietary supplement based on organic products and also organic byproducts, organic herbs and organic byproducts. These are the contents of my presentation: introduction, rationale, challenges, objectives, materials, methods, time scale, expected result, and references. So, what's a dietary natural supplement? Also sometimes it's called herbal supplement or botanical nutraceutical. It's the supplement in general is introduced to support the diet. It consists of concentration of nutrients with health, with the nutritional benefits and health benefits. So it could be one ingredient, as we can see here: seeds, fruits, leaves, flowers, stem, bark, or using multi-component in combination between two or more of them. It could also be consumed as tea, boiled and consumed as tea. It could be capsulated or into tablets, extract using the drops into the drink, or powder mixed with the smoothies or yogurt. So, here are some examples of different dietary supplements, organic dietary supplements in the market. So we have here the guava leaves. It has health benefits: reducing the diarrhea, lowering cholesterol, managing diabetes, fighting cancer, and fighting cold and coughing. It is consumed as a tablets or also as a powder, boiled and consumed as tea. We have the lemongrass. It has claims of reducing stress, helping sleeping. It's consumed also as powder. We have the pomegranate peel powder as a byproduct used as a supplement. It is used for inhibition of arthritis and joint pain. Helps muscle recovery, improves memory, and reduce blood pressure. We have the defatted black seed as also a byproduct. It is used as to enhance mood and support the memory and stress.
You have the shake.
We have the echinacea. It is extracted and used in encapsulations. It strengthens the immunity system and support cold and flu. The moringa leaves. It has a claims of reduce blood sugar, positive effect on cholesterol. The thing is that about these different products, they are based on their polyphenol content or secondary metabolites in general, and specific their polyphenol content. Some of these products, they have healthy claims, while the others, only God knows the credibility of these products and their safety. So, what is causing the degenerative chronic diseases that are solved by using these different supplements? First of all, the unhealthy lifestyle, smoking, overconsumption of alcohol, also using imbalanced diet, carbs, fats, that would later on cause oxidative stress, that will oxidize the lipids, protein, cause oxidation for both of them. Later on, they will create a sort of mutations. These mutations will affect the messenger RNA and will cause damage to it, will later on damaging the translation, transcription of the cells. causing the chronic degenerative disease such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, you name it. So we have here some studies showed that consumption of approximately 900 milligrams per day of dietary polyphenols can reduce, if not prevent, these cardio-degenerative diseases. But let's have a look how these cardio-degenerative diseases happens. It's a result of oxidation and inflammation. So how they are happening? It happens because of the non-balance between the polyphenols intake and also the oxidative stress. So that would result on creating oxygen reduction free radicals that will later on cause ROS, which are the reactive oxygen species that will cause inflammation and will cause the disease. So by balancing the antioxidant intake and the oxidative stress, in that case we will mitigate the reduction of the oxygen by stabilizing that kind of molecule to bring it back to its normal state. But the thing is that we have problem. The problem is that sometimes we consume the 900 milligrams per day from our diet, but it is not readily available. It is not accessible to the body. So, and some studies showed that mixing sources of polyphenols with sources of protein will create a sort of protein conjugated polyphenols that will increase the bioavailability and bioaccessibility of these polyphenols. The thing is that the polyphenols are very susceptible to the enzymatic, to the enzymes inside the stomach. They are easily broken down inside the stomach. So in order to have them, to make them reach into the small intestines, to be absorbed, to be accessible first of all, and then to be absorbed bioavailable to the body, it be mixed with sources of proteins. So, challenges. First of all, the health claims are a huge challenge. Herbal products have been consumed across history for their beneficial effect, but however, it caused many problems for their consumers. That's why the EFSA has its own criteria for food evaluation and healthy claims in order to have some kind of transparency and protect their consumers. So they require three main requirements or categories: characterization of the bioactive substances, and the biological effect or physiological effect of these substances, and the relationship between the cause of the disease and the effect of these different bioactive compounds. So, by providing a sufficient evidence for the healthy claim is really challenging because it requires a very deep knowledge about the problem. Also, it requires a deep investigation, research investigation. Recommended daily intake could cause overconsumption, could cause toxicity. Not just that, mixing the different combinations together could cause toxicity for the consumer. So consider that also as a challenge. Lack of methodological approach. We know that these products are private property, patented by different industries. It is not available in the research data sets. So, designing a tailor-made methodology respecting the nutrition and healthy claim challenges, the EFSA NDA panel or committee, also the organic food regulation, you find it challenging because the more the rules, that is the fun. So, our research questions and objectives here, the main question is how to design a multi-component dietary supplement. So these are the objectives and also the questions. So by selecting the best candidates for the novel natural supplement. The second one, by selecting protocol that I have discussed of how to develop or to combine these different products together. By investigating the functional properties into in vitro. So, thanks to the supervision team, we managed to design an experimental design for our approach. First of all, as I have discussed, you have to select the specific effect on the chronic disease, which I have mentioned, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. The selection of the supplement candidates will be based on very deep literature, in-deep literature reviewing to discuss or to investigate the mechanism, the bioavailability of these products using different reliable sources. So, in order to select the nutraceutical or the natural supplement candidates, we paid a visit to SECAM with the Research and Innovation Department. For those who doesn't know SECAM, it's the biggest producer in Egypt for organic and biodynamic products, and it's the largest in Africa and the Middle East from that aspect. So we investigated, they allowed us to collaborate with them to investigate their production lines. So investigating 34 herbs, 16 processing byproducts, we have selected, after screening and studying about them, we have selected for herbs 3 food processing byproducts, which are, we have for the herbs, the guava leaves and powder, moringa leaves, echinacea, the aerial part of the echinacea, and we have the lemongrass, also the aerial part, and we have here the processing byproducts, which are the defatted sesame seed and also the defatted black seed and the pomegranate peel. Well, that was our first phase. Our second phase is the exploitation of literature. So thanks to Ayman Sawasi, PhD student from the irrigation department, we managed to use the PhosViewer as a visualization of scientific landscape for selecting the best reliable references and to ease our process in investigating the physiological activities of these different candidates and also the amount of polyphenols individually and the individual substances and the total of these polyphenols. So here for the physiological effect we started to investigate the mechanism, the amount, the dose, also the cause and effect, the disease and how each candidate can affect these chronic diseases. According to these criteria, we will select 3 different candidates. But now we move on how we can combine these different candidates when it comes to the proportion and doses. So, first of all, we will make 2 types of extractions, aqueous methanolic extraction and aqueous ethanolic extraction for the precipitation of the proteins. Because as we know, proteins sometimes it block the polyphenols. So we will make both extractions and compare them, make 2 different assays, antioxidant for the antioxidant activities and for the total content of polyphenols. Generally, it will be TPPH for the capacity of the polyphenols and Fallon chocolate for the total polyphenols. So we will use the data we got from here, and we will insert it to response surface methodology software that will from 3 variables into 20 combinations. So we have the combinations here, and the application will give us the different combinations in percentage for each one of them. Later on, we will take we will liberate the data from here to Excel state central composite design. In this case, we will select the best combination, the ratios between each candidate, each one of these 3. Well, so now we are in the stage of selecting the vehicle for our supplement. So, and also characterization of the new compound supplement. Here we selected the yogurt. These are our 3 in the proportions, and we selected the yogurt as a source of protein in order to increase the availability and bioaccessibility, and also it's also consumed by everyone as a kind of breakfast. And we will try, according to the different proportions of the amount of polyphenols in each one of them and the individual substances, to reach 50% of the dietary intake, which I have mentioned, 900 milligram per day. So, later on we will make, after combining this, we will make non-targeted mass spectroscopy for the characterization of the different compounds and also quantification of them. So, here we reach to our in vitro and functionality using human cell lines, kappa-2 cell, to investigate the activity, the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity of our supplement. That experiment will be done in the institute in Rome. So mixing, having that cytomix inducer that will have tumor necrosis factor alpha, interferon gamma, and interleukin 1 beta to induce the cell in order to cause inflammation and reactive oxygen species. Nitric oxide as a biomarker for inflammation, and ROS as a biomarker for oxidative stress. Of course, after 24 hours, it will increase. Later on, we will have our own extraction from the combined supplement, and we will see if how much or if this is going to decrease or not. So, this is the timeline for the research, selecting the products in November, and later on the 3 phases, selection of the supplement candidates, evaluation of the candidates individually and in combination, and the bioavailability study, which is the copy cell, and the statistical iteration of the analysis. Here we move to our expected result, which are research and innovation. So this combination will be the first of each kind introduced to the science from the selected candidates. Also, we will have the potential in making publication in different journals, like journals of food and science, food microbiology, functional foods. Also developing a natural supplement at the technology level 3, which is experimental research and design, with a potential scaling up for the industrial level with, for example, Seachem. Our second expected result, added value to the organic food, valorization of different herbs of food, and also the byproducts for the defatted seeds I have mentioned. Developing a new approach as a tailor-made methodology to be available for the people who wants to design that kind of a supplement. Promoting the organic sector with sustainability and as a circular economy. These are my references. That's thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's you took your time entirely.
Yes, but this is my right, huh?
Yeah. No, because apparently 15 slides.